Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back. Dr. Michael Kell joining us as always here on the show. Pleasure to have him. How are you today?
Well, since we're having a date on July 14th, I am very happy.
Yay! This would be great. Awesome. Yes, hopefully that's the day that we're meeting finally for your in-person live in studio show. It would be awesome. Awesome.
Should be.
What's happening? What's going on?
Well, actually, I'm sort of bummed out a little bit today. It happens in romance a lot, I'm afraid. But it's okay. I mean, it's not just, I'm used to these things. So I wasn't sure who I was going to talk to, but, I thought maybe you could actually interview me today. And I'll probably stop it. It's just the first question, but just about, perhaps what I've learned from being in love. And I mean, seriously in love with a lot of beautiful, and that didn't mean pretty all the time, okay, but beautiful females, with the ups and downs and the hardships and the breakups and a million things. And it's like all my life. So that might be interesting. I don't know. So I thought you probably might have some questions after all the months we've been talking to each other.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what's been happening? Okay, because the last time we spoke, we were talking about all these women from here, from there that want to marry you. Did something happen personally?
No, nothing's really happened. But something that here's what happens, okay, is, and I don't know if I ever said this, but I am looking for one particular woman. And I've been looking all my life for her. I don't know if she's even going to be born this time, because it doesn't always work. Okay. And so I don't give up because I'm pretty persistent, but it doesn't mean I'm really prepared if it happens, because it's kind of rare. It's like a wife from an old time ago, and so that's what's happened, as I think I talked about last time, but I didn't get one, I got two old wives.
Wow.
You don't always remember everybody when you in past lives, and so it's opened up all these feelings. Everybody has feelings inside themselves, but a lot of them are locked away. It doesn't mean they're bad; it just means they're locked away, especially from past lives. And so it makes me sad, kind of, because these other people that I like to talk to and stuff, I have to deal with them, And I really want every woman I talk to find a good husband that respects her, honors her, and supports her. And so even when my romancing, it doesn't mean I want to go to bed with them. I just like something about them that's special, and it's hard to find a good partner. I mean, for a woman and for a man.
Oh my gosh. You got to interview me next, because, oh God, you have no idea the stories. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you on that one.
And part of the problem is that, we all have our likes and dislikes. I mean, like, for example, I'm not so fond of tattoos in general on women. I don't care about men, but sometimes excessive.
I'm the same way.
But for me, it's kind of, I mean, young people make mistakes sometimes, but it's kind of an abuse in your body, I think, because it can't make it look better.
I agree. I agree.
But what I found is that everybody wants to trade something. Okay, and the reason I just brought it up was I went up to see some friends of my son and his wife in Chicago. We just moved up there and got married like in October last year, and some in Ukrainian friends of mine. Which means I have to go up there. They drink a lot. I have to drink a lot. They usually can't handle it, and I can, even though I don't drink. And so my friend Boris wanted me to take me to meet his Mexican friend, Gustavo, was apparently a really nice, generous person, and his dad was real big in Chicago. So I went over there, and there was like a square table. It was outside his patio, and at one end was this blonde Ukrainian lady. It's a couple of Mexican people, South American, and Boris sat at the other end across from her, but I sat to Boris's left. And so she was talking to one of the guys next to her about the problem with relationships today. So here I'm drinking more vodka, but my mouth is working good. My brain is working good.
Of course.
And I'm thinking, I think I'll see if I can seduce her without doing anything, romance her. And it's not pick or go to bed or anything. It's just like, it makes a connection that brings more things out. And so So she and I started talking about relationships, and there's like 10 people at this table. And she and I are talking back and forth from the end, one end to the other, end to the other. And finally I moved up next to her so I didn't have to hear. It was easier to hear. For like 2 hours. She's a high-end programmer, Tulsa, genius lady, and stuff. And so we're talking about relationships. And one of the things that came up that she didn't like is that everybody's trying to trade something for something else. Like the woman will give up something if the husband has money. Okay, that's a trade. The man wants her because she's pretty, and so everybody's trading some superficial, unimportant commodity. I mean, that may be necessary, but unimportant commodity to get together.
Okay.
And so you wonder why it never works. It can't work. And she and I agree that the key to relationship is finding someone that you can attune to enough, that you care enough about, that you're willing to support her or support the guy. And it's not for sex, it's not for anything. It's a feeling there, which I think is real romance. And when I was a freshman at Brown, a resident fellow had a meeting one day, and we had to talk about what love came up. The best definition I heard is that to love someone means you have to actively will their good, and I don't mean good just because you like it. It's because what's really beneficial for them, and if you can if I can find a woman that I can do that to, because Lam don't let you do that to them for them, but you find something you can actually attune to. Okay. And so I always told so I told people, I said, I've been married twice. Yeah, twice. And, I had a lot of girlfriends and lovers and stuff, but I never, ever yet found a woman that I actually wanted to marry. It didn't matter to me being married or not. I mean, I'm not the fool around with a lot of people. I mean, I do, but not when I'm with somebody. Okay. And, and so now I find two people that I'd be willing to marry, and I actually would want to give them a child. That is alien for me. Totally alien. I never wanted children. Not because they're not good, okay? It just how was I brought up.
And you have two, right?
I have two boys, they're like 3 years apart. And so I mean, my wife at that time never told me she was going to get pregnant, never told me anything. So I ended up with 2 kids.
But isn't that amazingly
blessing? It pissed me off a little bit, okay? What?
But are they the most amazing things that you've ever done and had and created?
Well, I mean, Andrew, the young one, is really successful, okay? Alex got married to this woman. He never should have got married, but it's not my business. And Alex is Andrew is assertive. Alex is not. Alex is the older one. And so, he's trying to work through all these things, but he won't, you try to call him, he doesn't call you back. See, so for me, they're adults now, and I'm happy to help them and hope they do well, but it's not my job anymore per se. I don't,
But when they were little, were you around? Were you
I was
present?
always
Were you
around. The
there?
mom didn't do crap.
Oh gosh.
I mean, she never wanted to do anything. So we went to the islands after I was divorced. I took different girlfriends with me to show them about nice women. Indirectly teach them by role models. And so we had fun, the three of us. But Teresa never wanted to go, never wanted to do anything. So we eventually got divorced, which was the best thing that ever happened to me, probably, because I wouldn't have got divorced. Not that I wanted to stay there, but I'm pretty traditional and responsible in general. And so now I finally find two people. I have to choose one that I actually want to be married to for two different reasons, and they want to have a child. So, okay, I'll have a child, but I want girls. I had 2 boys, so I want 2 beautiful, could be twins. That's be easier, more efficient. 2 beautiful ladies, girls that I can raise as a father should raise them, loving them, teaching them to be independent in a nice way, confident that they're important to the world, things that most fathers don't do anymore.
No.
And
God,
and give them a good role model, what kind of husband they should find. If they want to get married, maybe they don't want to.
Wow. And I got to ask, so you want 2 kids still, for sure. We're talking now, present, not in the future in another life.
No, this is now.
This life.
So,
okay. And have you found the woman to have the kids with?
I got 2 choices.
Go.
One is that innocent Ukrainian student who graduated from university. Remember, I think I told you about her. who wants to go to New Zealand for a honeymoon because New Zealand has nice mountains and mountains are healing. And she's really well educated and smart, you know. But she wants to be a housewife.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the old traditional stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. You know, as long as they study and keep learning things, you know, so they don't get stale, so to speak. You know, and the other one is a really good upcoming designer in Ukraine. And she is really creative. Okay. And I'm going, perfect. Here's a career woman who would like to have a family, but not like just have maids take care of them. Okay. They actually have a, you know, daughter or two. And, you know, and came nice, you know, and I can support become famous things because if I'm successful as a celebrity guy, then I can support her. And I'm going, this is cool. Now there's two incomes coming in instead of only one. So I can write more books. I don't have to worry about making a ton of money necessarily.
But now, what about having child with both?
Well, actually, see, that doesn't work too well unless the women really care about each other. So they have to be in love with each other.
Do they know each other, or do they know anything about? Do they know anything about each other? Do they know that you're dating one?
They don't know each other even exists.
Oh wow, you're good.
You know, so most of the time I chat with them and stuff. You know, and Ira, who's the designer, has always wanted to chat. It's killing my budget, but it's okay.
But physically, like chat on the phone, or like
chat on like Zoom, but it's not Zoom.
Oh, okay.
It's the site, and you know, and her mother died at birth, and she was raised by a granny. Grannies in Ukraine are a big deal. Okay, they are a really big deal. You wouldn't really have. It's not the same like in America. They're still used to take care of the family, and you know, and she's like 27. She had one relationship wasn't too good. I don't know quite know why. Anyway, but that was like 7 years ago. So she's like a near virgin. Not that I care, but I mean, near virgin. So I think this is going to be interesting because what kind of crap happened to find this out, you know? And so what I can do is I can read really well just watching her face, you know? And so I bring up things that she doesn't want to think about, but she needs to think about them. You know, like for example, if she and I got married and she, you know, because of the war in Ukraine, we said, you know, you're in a pretty safe place. I can take care of all the stuff over here. I don't mind if I get blown up if I'm there over with you. And, you know, but what about your granny? What are we going to do about granny? She raised you. Your mother died, you know? And if she's the granny I think she is, she's really special. Says, well, we can figure that. I said, no, you need to think about it now. You know, so I brought up all these feelings, which we didn't get into at the time, but she goes, well, you're right. I go, of course I'm right. You know, I've been around a long time. And so I don't know why I'm really sad, you know, but I think sometimes I have a tendency to get really close psychologically and emotionally to a woman, you know, which means I can't say what I feel, okay, but I feel something's not right with her. You know, it's not her fault. I mean, it happens to all of us. I have things that aren't right with me, but it bothers me. You know, it makes me sad, you know, just because I want to fix it. That's why I was a doctor. I want to fix things. You're an engineer. I want to fix things. And, you know, so then women I used to talk, I still want to talk. Some I got rid of, but I still want to talk to them. You know, I said, you know, I'll talk to you still because I want you to do well. You know, doesn't mean I want to marry you, but I am connected to you, you know, and I know a lot of stuff, you know, and I particularly know who's a shitty husband. Okay. Get involved with. And, you know, so I want to be there for them in a sense, you know, not physically or stuff, but just emotionally, you know, and cognitively, because I think they are good women, you know, and they'd make a good wife or a good partner, you know, and so, but I can't do that all the time, you know, go over here. So that's sort of a conflict for me because I really like women, you know, and I don't ask much usually. Yeah. Sometimes. You know, and so there are special women out there. You see, and you're one of, I mean, I'm not romancing you, but you are a special lady.
Oh, thank you. And I want girls myself. I'm 45 though. That clock is ticking, and I already have a bunch of issues. And wait till we get together, because if we go out on the 14th, right? When I think
Yep.
because you're coming, we'll do the show. We'll also do dinner afterwards. Wait till I really went on my men story journey. I have the worst luck and timing, but it's great. It's too long to take up your time, but I will tell you my troubles. Yeah, my boyfriend and I, we broke up maybe 2 months ago. There's a new guy who just started coming around. I gotta tell you about him, but there's like this whole these men always like date me for the wrong reason, because a lot of them know me from like New York television, and they think, oh wow, and then they meet me and they're like, oh, you're not what I thought. You're so like boring. I said, yeah, I'm like, I dress up for work. I don't dress up, but I don't have to. I don't. And now it's different. Now I have kids. I said, so I don't have time for you. I said, it's number one, my Austin's number two, number three is Jackson, and you're number four. So if you want to date me, you have to be comfortable being number four. I don't want to be anyone's number four. You want to be? I'm just letting you know this is how it goes. My kids and I sleep in the same bed. This is what we do. This is our life. It's not a normal, like in a family where there's like a kid going to a dad's house every other weekend. It's us. So there's three of us. So it's very hard for someone to understand. And they all think, oh, I got it. Yeah. Oh, I don't need much time. And then all of a sudden the whole relationship goes into like, you don't have time for me. You don't have time for me. And I'm like, I told you that since day one. I don't lie. I'm a very honest person, but you're talking to a woman who works full time, take care of her kids full time. So that leaves like this little window, but everyone acts like they understand, then they don't. But anyway, I'm going to go on a tangent. We'll talk more about that later, but yeah. And back to you.
There is a man for you, but I think it's a friend.
Yes. Okay.
That cares about you, really cares about you, and once people understand what the relationship is meant to, I say it's meant to be with God, but it's, how it needs to be, and they both are honest, then things can work that you don't think will work, but what happens is both parties feed the other partner in a way they need to be fed, but the question is, you got to find out what food does that damn guy want. Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so back to you. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
You're more important than me, because you have two boys to take care of. Mine are grown up, so
Aww.
I'm just chatting.
But so how does it work? So I mean, are they willing to move from Ukraine to be with you? Would you move to them?
Well, no, see,
that's
the convenient one is the one who's in Canada, because you must, and her parents are moving there, and they all speak English, which means they must be pretty well off. Okay. Everybody, family don't speak English. You see over there. So she's in Calgary, has student visa. So I don't know how easy it's converted over. So she said, I want to come down there. I said, nice. It's hard to get into America unless you're Mexican. So I'd rather come to Canada and then get out of the United States, which would be a good thing. I have some friends in Calgary, which I never visited, but I would. And so it'd be like a new leaf, new start, free, disassociated from the past and all the environmental stuff. And there's something special about a traditional woman that's smart, but I told her, I said, you probably need to get I think she's in business and stuff. I think you need to get a master's degree. She goes, why? I said, well, because when the two girls grow up, they may not be hanging around very much anymore. Then the woman needs to, have something to do. So you got to make sure you continue doing what you like to do. Even if you don't get paid, or just a part-time job, when you have, not when they're babies, but when they're growing up a little bit. So you'll be prepared. That way, if I didn't save enough money up for you, because I'll probably die before you do, not necessarily, but I mean, age-wise, I should, probability-wise. So then you can take care of somebody else. That's one reason I like the designer. I help her so she can take care of herself when I'm dead, which will probably be before she is, because she's only 27 and I'm older. So,
but the other one wants to just be the housewife.
I imagine her mother's that way, I mean, I don't know. I haven't met her mother yet, but that's fine. But I kind of like it, because as long as they're intellectually active, it's like
and sexually active. Don't lie. That's part of it.
Yeah.
Intellectually. And
see, but even when I had my sons, I mean, there was no family there, because I should have never married Therese, but I was an intern, and that's an interesting story. It shows how stupid I can be, but how kind I am. I'd met her when she was last year in regular medical school, and I was in a special program, so I could skip 2 or 3 years, okay, and get a PhD. So somebody introduced me to her.
Oh, done.
It was in my program. And she said, this is, she said, okay, fine, nice to meet you, blah, blah. But I didn't like her, particularly. I did dislike her. I just wasn't interested. So, but the first day of when we became interns, and that's when my class caught up with her class, okay, because I was like 3 years ahead, sort of. And, so I'm sitting in the second row, listening to those stupid things for the first week. She's in the first row. She remembered me. She turned around and says, oh, you got new shoes for school, did you? I go, yeah, you should have got some new ones. These are Rockports and they're really comfortable. You're going to be standing on your feet a lot, which you probably know better than I do and stuff, But then I just started talking a little bit and then she was knocked up by the chief resident. Why, you didn't want to get married or something. I don't know. So I felt bad. I felt bad for her, because he wouldn't even go to the abortion, So I said, okay, I'll do this. But you see, then because this is an insane time, you don't get sleep. It's a crazy world. You can kill people. And she was like, so we got involved, okay. And so he goes, I want to get your hair cut. I said, I don't like my hair short. She goes, well, I like your hair short. I said, well, what are you going to give me? This was a bargain, okay. I said, what will you give me for me to cut my hair short? And she says, I'll give you anything you ask. I said, you sure you want to give me everything I'm asked?
Yeah.
You ask? I asked. She says, yeah. I said, okay, then marry me. It was insane. Okay. She said, okay, I gave my word. And then she succeeded after to get pregnant without telling me. Why was she even married? Because I would have dumped her. Not in a bad way, okay? Because I knew she went and I wouldn't get along like a long term, fun wise.
But you did tell her you would marry her. Wait, this is what confuses me.
That's because I was insane. No, because people don't understand being an intern. You don't get no sleep.
Yeah.
You don't want to kill anybody. I mean, it's really a psychologically bad situation to be in. And especially since I had a shorter course than everybody else, I knew less than they did. I was smarter than they were, but I knew less. I wasn't going to kill the patient. No way. Never did. Even saved other people's patients. But so that was just a little, who knows why, thing. But then when I found out she was already pregnant before we even got married, which means she didn't use her birth control, but she didn't tell me that. I go, there's some issues here, but because she was pregnant, again, just dump her, right? I could, but I'm not mean. And so we got married and stuff. And, so that was okay. It was okay. So we did her internship, finished that. They weren't going to graduate her because she was pregnant, and I went to the head guy, old medical doctor, right? Cardiologist, William Hurst, famous. I said, Dr. Hurst, Dr. Walker doesn't think trees should graduate. You should be given credit for this year. And I said, your wife's had children. You know how hard it is. Try to do that. It's hard enough if you're not pregnant, but to be pregnant and you're older, like 30, you got to have some rest. He goes, yeah, I think you're right, Dr. Cal. I'll tell him to give her credit. Okay. So, that was okay. So she was doing narcotics treatment. And so I opened a clinic for her, but she and I couldn't work together. So then she comes with Andrew, it was like 2.5 years later, or 3 years later, approximately. She goes, Michael, I have something really good to tell you. She goes, I finally had a baby when I chose to have a baby. I go, Trace, you should have told me that you want another baby. That's wrong. See? So I didn't feel like I was trapped or anything. It just means I had to change my thing. And after she first said with Alex, I had to go like the medical library and spent 2 hours reframing my whole brain and my whole life.
Oh my God.
So I could deal with, being married and having children. Not that I don't like them. I do. And they love me, but it just wasn't where my brain set was.
Yeah.
So you have all those things. Okay. And then you meet other people who have other problems and stuff. And it's all I really ever wanted was to be married to somebody that I wanted to be married to, and wouldn't have kids unless she wanted them and I wanted one, okay? And have a nice family that does things together, just like on Leave It to Beaver. Not the same way, okay? But just nice family, like the old days, maybe. Maybe it never was true. Maybe it's just, a fairy tale, but I don't care. That's all I ever
wrap
asked.
up. I apologize. We got, oh, it happened so quick. Michael, I'm sorry. We have to always go, but
Okay.
let's figure this
Okay.
out. We'll hopefully work together. See each other next 2 weeks or so.
Yep.
Yeah. Good.
As far as I know, we are on, so
Perfect.
that'd be good. Well, take
All right.
care.
Thank you, Michael Cal.
Hugs and kisses.
Appreciate it. Same here.
Bye-bye.
Mwah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.